You're listening to Benton Panther football. We'll be right back in a minute.
I thought they'd been there for a while. I guess another
At halftime.
What was it? A Coke or water? Water. Oh, I'm sorry. How about that practice? I'm going to get some of that here in a minute. How we doing?
A little bit ahead of what I thought. Birds won 27-25. That was in 1989. The Benton Panthers lead this series 19 wins, 13 losses, and 1 tie. That's been since 1941. Here come the Panthers onto the field, and the Pink Panther, the adopted theme song of the Benton Panthers, being played right now by the band, and there's a lot of excitement, Mike, as we're getting closer here to the start of the ball game.
John, I've noticed that their intensity level is just real high, if you'll notice over on the other side of the field. And that's one thing that at the close of Tuesday's practice that Coach Fight warned them against was, you know, getting too high, getting too ready, and playing the ball game on Thursday afternoon instead of Friday night. And that's not what they want to do. Last year, John, the 27 points that Malvern scored against Benton was the most amount of points that was scored on there.
Brad Collett will open tonight at quarterback. Judd Fight, the fullback. The wingback is John Brewer, and Rick Daniels is the halfback tonight in the wing T offense. Reed Kaufman is getting ready to kick off, and we'll set the Leopards starting lineup for you here as we go along. Deep for the Malvern Leopards is Mark Traylor. Traylor standing down on the 5-yard line, and the 1990 high school football season for Benton and Malvern is underway. Kaufman gets his toe into it. The ball will carry out of bounds at the 10-yard line. They'll mark it on the about the 12-yard line, and they will walk off the penalty.
It'll be a 5-yard penalty, and the ball it'll be brought back and kicked to the 35, John. You know, the kicking game is something that Benton's worked on extremely hard in their preparation for the season, and Reed Kaufman is a fine kicker. We've also got a young man, John Graves, who probably will handle the field goal duties tonight up against North Pulaski in the preseason game. He kicked a 35-yarder that really would have been good from about 50 yards. So he's got a real good leg on him, and that'll give us another threat to score with.
So Kaufman has the ball teed up again, and again the deep man for the Leopards is Mark Traylor. On the far side is Sid Henderson, and on the near side is Phil Jimerson. The Panthers will be running from right to left, and the Leopards will be running from left to right here, beginning this ball game. This field goes east and west, I believe. So the west or east goal is now being defended. It's going to be picked up by Henderson on the 20, out to the 25. Henderson shoots from the 30, comes up to the 35, up to the 38-yard line, and then the Panthers swarm on him at that point.
John
So the Malvern Leopards will take over first down and 2 yards to go.
1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Check 1, 2. Hello, test. Hello, test. 1, 2.
Okay, we are back here. We had some technical difficulties, and for whatever reason here, we have lost some audio there, but we are back and ready to go here with Malvern having the ball on the Panther 20-yard line, and at this point, see if we can pick up the action here, Mike, and kind of get set back up again.
John, I was so busy there trying to work, really, to be honest. Jerry Danneran's done a good job of keeping up with things, and we'll try to update the folks here in just a little bit after we get our composure back. We kind of lost everything there for just a second.
We'll pick up action here with 8 minutes and 33 seconds remaining, and Brashear, the quarterback, has the ball on the 19-yard line, pitches to Jimerson. He's hit on the 19 for virtually no gain on the play, and the Panthers got in there and kind of made a sandwich out of him. A couple of guys getting in there.
John, the name Mark Traylor and Phil Jimerson and Chad Brashear is just awfully familiar to the Benton fans and the Benton football team, because they are exactly what brought us all of our misery last year. They're fine football players and good athletes, and they're going in now to their double split wide out with a fire eye, John, and usually this is a passing formation for them.
Okay, here is the quarterback Brashear putting it in the end zone. Pass is going to be way overthrown, and the ball was intended for Steve Newborn, the end. And again, the Benton Panthers were right there with him to bring him down, the Benton Panthers, and we are now looking at third down, 11 yards to go. The ball is on the 19-yard line as the Leopards have moved down to the 19, and that's where they are stationed right now. Chad Brashear, the quarterback, he's a senior, 6'1", 161 pounds, and they have the ball on the 19-yard line. I formation. Alpe is split to the near side of the field. Back to pass goes Brashear. Puts it up incomplete. The ball was intended for the flanker, Sid Henderson, and Brashear rushed the pass just a little bit, throwing it over his head. And so now we're looking at fourth down and 11 yards to go. So it looks like it's going to be field goal time here, Mike.
John, they're definitely going to go for a field goal. At least they're going to line up in an attempt to go for a field goal. And, of course, always, and with a team like Malvern, with the speed they've got, you got to be careful of a fake field goal, and more especially this early in the ball game.
All right, coming in here for the Leopards right now to attempt the field goal is going to be Michael Langley, and he'll be kicking it off the hold of Doug Alpe. And now we have a timeout call, and it looks like Malvern will take a timeout and talk things over. So with timeout on the field, no score in the ball game. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Procedure penalty, and it looks to me like it's a little confusing right now. They need to get a hold of the ball game. They're not going to go for it. They're going to try to punt the ball. That surprises me a little bit, as close in as they are, that they really don't go for it. No, John, they're in the wideout. That's right. They're going to go for it.
They're going to go for it. The ball on the 24-yard line after the penalty was assessed, and so Brashear, with one setback behind him, will, I'm sure, be putting it in the air again. This time he takes the ball, reverse. The ball goes to Henderson. He cuts in on the 25, hit on the 20, down to the 19-yard line. The Benton Panthers have held and stopped Malvern in their first real threat here in the opening few minutes of the ball game. On the tackle that time for the Benton Panthers was John Brewer, and Brewer made a nice play from the cornerback's position, and so the Benton offense now will check in with 7:36 remaining in the first quarter, no score. And Brad Collett, of course, some problems, Mike, that we hope we don't see much of tonight.
Well, he's got a broke left hand, or at least down around the thumb area, and it's going to affect him a little bit on his ball handling, John, not so much on his passing.
Benton will open in the wishbone formation. Here's Collett taking the ball, handing off up the middle to Judd Fights, as Judd fights his way up to the 25-yard line for about a 4-yard gainer on the play. And so they move from the 19 up across the 20 to the 24-yard line, make it 5 yards. It'll be second down and 5 to go for the Benton Panthers. Brad Collett, the quarterback, as we said, Collett, I think the whole team really trusts this guy. He's a senior, and they're looking for big things out of Brad. Panthers moving from right to left with the ball on the far side, hash marks. This time the give is to John Brewer. Brewer stacked up as he falls across the 25 to the 26-yard line, and nothing but black and orange surrounding John Brewer. On the initial stop was Tommy Ball for the Malvern Leopards, and so now the Panthers look at third down and a long 3 with the ball on the 26-yard line.
John, they have come out in their wishbone offense, and really they just need to, I think Coach Fight's probably wise in doing so, just to settle the team down and let them get a feel of the ball game.
Rick Daniel will be split to the near side of the field. The Panthers in the wishbone, far side hash marks. Here's Collett down the line, wants to throw, arches it up for Daniels. He makes he just barely dropped it on the 50-yard line. And I tell you what, it was Michael Langley all over him like a glove there. And Rick made a nice move to get under the ball, but just couldn't quite keep a hold of it there. So now 4th down and 3 yards to go for the Panthers. They'll punt.
John, if he had caught that, Rick would have automatically earned him all-state honors right there. That would have been a circus catch. We're going to have Brian Holder punting the ball tonight for the Panthers, John.
Holter stepping back on around the 10-yard line to get the ball away. Mark Traylor is the deep man. He's standing on the Leopard 44-yard line. No score in the ball game if you've just joined us. Nice punt by Holder, picked up by Traylor on the 40, up to the 45 to midfield. Traylor gets a block. He's finally tackled on the 45-yard line. And getting up and getting a hold of Traylor was one of the Panther up men. And let's see, I don't think we have him listed down here this evening. We went off and somehow don't have a Benton roster on us, but maybe somebody has an extra and they'll loan us. See if we can get that. But we have the starters on offense and defense tonight. And I thought we were prepared for the opening of the season here, Mike. Ball on the Panther 46-yard line. Here is the quarterback taking the ball, handing off to Jimerson. Brashear to Jimerson. Jimerson hit and stacked up right on the line there on the 45-yard line. And on the tackle that time for the Benton Panthers was Alan Bearden. 2nd down and 8 yards to go. 5:35 to play first quarter, no score. This time it'll be Henderson, the flanker, split to the near side of the field. To the far side for the Malvern Leopards will be John Foles, I formation behind Chad Brashear, the quarterback for the Malvern Leopards. Brashear takes the ball. This time he's going to keep it. He can't get anywhere. He's tackled right on the 45-yard line and hit again by the middle of the Benton line.
John has Matt Bowen on the tackle then. He's the right defensive tackle. Matt's not a big individual. They kind of compare him to Jared Hambrick from last year's team, but he's very mobile, he's very strong, and he can move down the line of scrimmage. That was an excellent play then by the offside defensive tackle.
Alfie split to the near side. Henderson split to the far side. The ball on the 46-yard line, I formation. Here's the pass from quarterback Brashear, intended for Henderson. And a little bit low. He did not hang on to it, so it will now bring up 4th down and 9 yards to go. And again, the Benton Panthers defense is held.
John, one thing we can watch for on this punt return, if the Panthers shift just prior to the ball snap, and it looks like they're going back with one deep back, we can look for a block punt, an attempt at the block punt. Let's watch and see if they shift just prior to the ball snap.
John Brewer is back deep for the Panthers, and Chad Brashears, the quarterback for Malvern, will punt the ball from the 41-yard line. Brashears gets a high snap from center, gets the punt away, almost blocked, and Brewer will field it on the 19-yard line, shakes one guy on the 20, the 25, the 30. Brewer, the 35, the 40, the 45. Brewer fights his way up to midfield and across the 50-yard line down to the Malvern 48-yard line, and a great run there by John Brewer to give the Panthers their best field position thus far in the ballgame for their second possession. Kevin Biggs on the stop for the Malvern Leopards.
John, it was an outstanding run back. He got a great block downfield out here that freed him, and I missed who made the block because my eye stayed on the runner, but John came right down the sideline. He cut back across the grain, and bless his heart, Rick Daniel, who wouldn't have done it for anything in the world, got in his way just a little bit, but I guarantee you somewhere down the road, Rick Daniel will make that up to John Brewer.
35 yards on the run for John Brewer. Now the Panthers go to the wing T formation. Daniel in the slot to the right. Here comes Brewer in motion to the near side. The ball goes off to Judd Fight on the 45. Judd Fight down to the 40-yard line.
John, that's Terry Berry, number 13. They look just alike in their uniforms. They're almost the same size. In fact, they're real good friends. They kind of run around together. But Terry Berry's a kid that's been with this team all the way through, and this year developed tremendously in his upper body strength and also in his leg strength. And is just doing a real great job, and they're going to alternate Terry Berry and Judd Fight in their fullback tonight.
So we still have Berry in, and the Panthers now look at second down and 3 yards to go. The ball on the 41-yard line. Here's the snap. Collett takes the ball. He's going to be blindsided. Fumbles the ball. Malvern has come up with it on the 44-yard line. So the Malvern Leopards, I think it was Chris Smith got in there and just literally blindsided Brad Collett. And George Hathcott fell on the ball, and so the Leopards get it right back on the 44-yard line.
John and coaches are talking upstairs right now just trying to figure out what happened. That play is, of course, naturally designed not to let that happen, but either the offensive tackle on the left side or the tight end one just didn't pick up the man coming through, and those are the kind of licks early in the season, especially, you don't want your main quarterback to take.
Well, we have a brief pause in the action here as a referee calls a timeout for 1 second. Now they'll get things going again as Chad Brashear and company up to the line of scrimmage. The ball on the 44-yard line. First down and 10 yards to go for Malvern. Brashear's going to keep. He's going to be hit right up on the line of scrimmage and turned back by Brian Holter there on the 44-yard line. Nice hit by Holter as he took an opportunity to introduce himself to Chad Brashear, and I bet Brashear doesn't want to see that happen again. No gain on the play. Second down and 10 yards to go. The Leopards with the ball on the near side hash marks, moving from left to right here in the first quarter with 2 minutes and 56 seconds to play. Sid Henderson will flank to the wide side of the field. One setback behind quarterback Brashear. Trailer in a slot to the right. Brashear takes the ball, drops back, looks, fires the pass incomplete, in and out of the hands of Steve Newbern on the 46-yard line. And again, very alertly, the Benton Panthers there. Brian Holter, one of the guys there to help break up that pass. That will bring up third down and 10 with 2:38 to play in the first quarter and no score in the ball game. Ball on the 44-yard line as the Malvern Leopards trying to figure out the key that will unlock the Benton Panther defense.
John, the defense so far is gelling together real well. The only thing, they're going to pass on us, that's obvious, and we're just going to have to be prepared for that.
High formation, ball on the 44-yard line. Here's Brashear, faking, play action, looks, wants to throw. This time he'll be blindsided. Loose ball, scramble for it. I think Malvern got it back. Still a loose ball, still a scramble for it, and finally, who came up with it? It's hard to tell. The Panthers, John Brewer has the ball on the 33-yard line.
You know, John, one thing we learned last year that you can pretty well depend on, and that's Brian Holter letting us know what goes on up there in the press box. John threw that arm up, and he's a young man that plays on excitement, and whatever if it's exciting, he's going to make it more exciting. And that right there was a good break for the Panthers, and they need to capitalize on this and take it in and score.
So now we have the Panthers again lining up in the wing tee. Daniels in a slot to the left. Judd Fight, the fullback. Behind quarterback Brad Collett. Collett takes the ball, hands off Brewer. Brewer this time can't get much there as Mark Traylor is all over him there on the 33-yard line. Also in there with Traylor was Stephen Newbern. And so I tell you what, it's awfully hard to see. I don't believe any yardage was picked up at all. Second down and 10. The ball still on the 33-yard line with 1:49 to play in the first quarter now. The Panthers moving from right to left. And getting an outstanding break that time as quarterback Brashear was decked, fumbled the ball, and the Panthers were able to get it back with on it. One setback behind Collett. Ball on the 33-yard line. Collett takes the ball. Play action fake. Wants to throw. Rolling now to the near side. Got a little pressure on him. He's on the 30 to 25. Collett breaks loose on the 20. Collett on the 15 and hit on the 5th, actually the 16-yard line. And we have a flag on the field. Looks like it may be holding Michael Langley on the tackle for the Malvern Leopards. Holding is the call against the Benton Panthers. That'll nullify a fine run there by Brad Collett.
John, it nullified the run, but it's time to make the statement that Brad Collett can also run the football. And he's the type of young man, he'll go back in the huddle and he'll say, look, guys, let's just put it back together, forget this, let's go on and get this ball into the end zone. That was a play that was actually designed to go either to the tight end or to the left wing man on a pass. And, of course, they were covered downfield, and Brad just took the ball, tucked it under, and went on with it and made a nice game. These are the type of things that's going to happen early in the season. Not something that you want to have happen, but best to get them out of the way right now. A lot of the high school coaches consider these games preseason type games prior to the conference, and it's a way to get these things out of the way, because in practice you're not going to always have the same type of situation you're going to have in a ball game. But they'll tuck it under and they'll come on back.
Ball to the 43-yard line, second down now for the Benton Panthers, and a long 20 yards to go. Here's Collett, play action fake. Brad Collett wants to throw, has plenty of time, launches the pass. Brewer out there, good on the 10, out of bounds on the 8-yard line. First and goal, the Panthers. Philip Jimmerson covering on the play, but John Brewer had a step on him, and Brad Collett laid it right on the numbers.
John, that's the exact reason that in the paper here just about a week or so ago, the Arkansas Razorback coaches were quoted as saying that they've looked all over the United States for quarterbacks, and they've got one in their own backyard. It was a tremendously well-thrown pass, and John Brewer ran a great route and come down with a good gain, and that's what I'm talking about. They'll come back after a letdown. 34 yards on the play. One setback now behind Collett. Brad takes the ball. Reverse. Taking the ball is Rick Daniel. He's on the 5. Rick tripped up on the 5-yard line as Malvern's Michael Langley was there to bring him down. Going to have an unnecessary roughness call on that by Malvern. Johnny came in and speared well after Daniel was down, and one thing high school officials won't do, and they won't tolerate a late spear like that, because you can get somebody injured real easy.
Well, they're talking it over now with the captains for the Benton Panthers, and of course I'm sure we'll see half the distance to the goal line. There's just 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter. No score. The Panthers trying to do something about that. They walk it off half the distance, which will put the ball inside the 5-yard line. Let's see where they're going to mark it now. Probably on the 3.5-yard line there, and that's where the Panthers will take it for the first down situation. Second down, I'm sorry, and goal to goal with the ball on the far side. Hash marks there on the 3-yard line. One setback behind Collett. Brad Collett takes the ball, hands off to Judd Fight up the middle, and nothing doing there as Judd Fight could not find any holes as the Malvern Leopards, led by Ty Anderson, stopped Fight right there in his tracks, so it's going to be actually a loss of a yard back to the 4 where the referee puts it down. So let's make it third and goal, this time from the 4-yard line.
John, that's one thing about this offense. They always fake that fullback, and they'll come back now probably with a counter to one of the wingmen.
Berry has checked in now at fullback. Rick Daniel in the slot to the left. Brad Collett, the quarterback. Brewer comes in motion to the near side. Berry with a call. Berry into the end zone for the touchdown. And the Benton Panthers now draw first blood as they lead 6-0 over the Malvern Leopards.
I like the way Coach Fight and I have called plays together. You know, we know exactly what we're going to do. That's a great play call down there that time.
And so now we have the attempt at the extra point coming up, and Mike, who does those honors for the Benton Panthers?
John Graves will be the extra point kicker. He's a soccer-style kicker and just does a great job. He's probably got a future somewhere in kicking the ball if he wants to do that.
So Gray will come in and attempt the extra point as the Panthers trying to pull out to a 7-0 lead. And here's the kick. It's in the air, almost blocked, but it sails through the uprights, but a little bit to the left, no good. And so we have a timeout on the field with the score, Benton 6, Malvern nothing. We'll be back to Claude Mann Field in half a minute. The lead here over the Malvern Leopards in their first ball game, their season opener, and I tell you what, this has been an excellent ball game. There's just 10 seconds to play in the first quarter, Mike, and it's been everything we thought it was going to be.
John, it's exactly what I felt like the season would start out like. By the addition of our new offense, it's going to add a whole lot of excitement and open up a lot of different areas for us that we can use, and one of them being the passing game with the good quarterback that we have in Brad Collett. We got Reed Coffin preparing to kick off for the Panthers.
The Panthers went 43 yards in 7 plays a while ago for their first 6 points. The kick is going to be picked up by Mark Traylor as Mark will scamper his way across the 20, the 25, the 30, the 30, the 45, midfield, the 45, the 40 of the Benton Panthers, and out of bounds. So the Malvern Leopards have excellent field possession as Mark Traylor went on a rampage that time as he takes it all the way down, and they'll mark it out of bounds on the Panther 37-yard line, and that's where the
That was Rick
Leopards
Daniels.
will take over. Sorry about that.
Excuse me, John. That was Rick Daniels that brought him down there, and Rick is the safety man on the kickoff team, and he stayed back that time, and that's why you got a safety man on the kickoff team for those reasons. We're going to take a break. It's the end of the first quarter, and the Benton Panthers lead the Malvern Leopards 6-0. We'll be right back.
Malvern, where the Leopards have the ball on the Benton Panther 38-yard line. I formation as Chad Brashears takes the ball, pitches it wide to Henderson, I believe it was. And Henderson takes it down across the 35 to the 34-yard line, and Brian Holter makes the tackle for the Benton Panthers at that point.
John, that time Brian Holter made penetration at linebacker like he's supposed to do in the way that their defense is designed to do. The only thing is that we've got to be careful of with Malvern's speed is if they get outside on us, we're going to have lots of problems. We do have a fine secondary, but the ideal of this game is not have your secondary making the most amount of tackles.
Brashear and company up to the line of scrimmage, looking now at second down and about 7 yards to go from the Panther 35-yard line. They take the ball, hand off to Biggs, who's in the lineup. He slams his way down to the 30-yard line. Coming in at tailback tonight, Kevin Biggs. Biggs is a senior, 6'1", 170 pounds. Gary Titball on the tackle, by the way, for the Benton Panthers. That sets Malvern up now with 3rd down and 2. The ball on the 30. The line to gain is the 28-yard line of the Benton Panthers. Benton leading 6-0 if you've just joined us. An outstanding ball game here. Malvern from 3A, the Panthers from 4A. Henderson now flanked to the wide side. Ball in the middle of the field. Here's Brashears taking the ball. He's going to keep it himself. He's down to the 29-yard line. That had to have been a busted play, Mike.
Well, John, actually, what happened is our tackles pinched in and our nose man stood up the center, and it appears to be a busted play, but actually our defense just did the job they're supposed to do there. When the tackles pinch in like that, they'll close down on the offensive guards, and there's no place for the quarterback to go.
So that'll bring up a 4th down and 1 with the ball on the 29-yard line. As Chris Smith leads Malvern up to the line of scrimmage. This time it'll be Henderson flanked to the wide side. I formation with Biggs at tailback. They've taken Phil Jimerson out for Shears, and now somebody was drawn across sides. The Benton Panthers say, hey, Malvern did it.
Well, you can bet one thing that Brian Holter will appeal to the referee for the good call. In fact, before the night's over, anytime Benton plays in a ball game, most officials, one thing they remember about it is number 31, Brian Holter. He doesn't get arrogant with them. Brian he'll just talk with them, make suggestions to them about, hey, give us a break or else,
Well, I'll tell you, this time he'll have to appeal it to Judge Wapner because it has now been nullified, and the Benton Panthers get a 5-yard penalty as they march it down to the 24-yard line, so Malvern gets the 1st and 10. So the Leopards now close the gap a little bit further as they have the ball on the 24-yard line. 10 minutes, 1 second to play. Far side hash marks. This time it will be Henderson flanked to the near side of the field. I formation. Chad Brashear, the quarterback for the Malvern Leopards, takes the ball down the line. There's the pitch to Biggs. He fumbles. Scramble for it. Let's see who's come up with it. I think Benton may have it. They're still fighting for it. I think John Brewer has just wrestled it away for the 2nd time in the ball game, and Brewer has come up with the ball. And he literally just took it out of the hands of Biggs.
It was a well defense play that time, John. Our defensive end came up and contained exactly the way they're supposed to, and hit the pitch man, and our cornerback come up and then hit our end hit the quarterback, and our cornerback came up and hit the pitch man. That's the way you're supposed to play defense. It's a good break for Benton.
So here we go now with Collins and company back up to the line of scrimmage. The ball on the 28-yard line. 1st down, 10 yards to go for the Benton Panthers. Here's John Brewer around the far side end, the 30 to 35. Brewer across the 40-yard line and out of bounds on the 42-yard line for a 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Mark Traylor on the tackle for the Malvern Leopards. And so we have the Panthers moving the chains again. The ball on the 41-yard line with 9 minutes and 19 seconds to play in the first half of the ball game, and the Panthers leading 6-0.
John, I'd like to make comment on one thing. Steve Woods, in our outstanding right offensive tackle, completely bowed over the man that he's blocking. So Steve Woods has showed me there that there's good reason for him being highly touted.
13 yards for Brewer on the play. Now we have a quick trap up the middle. Judd Fight across the 45 to the 46-yard line. A good call, just a straight pop up the middle, and he takes it across the 45 to the 46-yard line, and then nothing but black jerseys all around him. And on the stop for Malvern was Kyle Franks. And so that will be a pickup of 5, second down, and 5 yards to go for the Panthers.
Dwight will look at the film tomorrow, and he'll punch Judd in the side and say, Judd, now that's exactly how I taught you how to run the ball.
Ball on the far side, hash marks. Benton running out of the wing tee. They opened the wishbone. They've switched to the wing tees since the opening stanza. Here's the give. Brewer across the 46 to the 50 to the Malvern 48-yard line. He stretches across the chains for the 1st and 10. On the tackle for the Leopards was Mark Traylor. And also getting in there was Newborn. Benton again moves the chains as they have the ball in Malvern territory. They will spot it on the 47-yard line with 8 minutes and 38 seconds to play in the first half. Benton moving from left to right here in the second quarter. Running out of the wing T formation. Collett brings his team up to the line of scrimmage. This time he'll have Ian Perry and a slot to the left with Rick Daniels on the near side. Play action fake. Back to pass goes Collett. Looks, fires the pass. Has Daniel out there but couldn't get it to him, just a little over his head. As a matter of fact, Daniel had Michael Langley beat on the 15-yard line, but I think Collett just let him just a little bit too much.
John, what they did on that is Collett read that Rick Daniel was going to stay going down the sideline, and Rick saw an opportunity to cut inside, and even though it was a good move and it brought him wide open, Brad had already released the ball when Rick made his cut, so it was just an overthrown pass, but I believe we're going to connect on one of those for the night's up.
Ball on the near side, hash marks on the Malvern 47-yard line. One set back behind Collin. Here comes Perry in motion. They hand it to him. Perry takes it down to the 44-yard line, and that's all. Waiting right there for Ian Perry for the Leopards was Mark Traylor again. And so it will be third down now for the Panthers and 7 yards to go from the 44-yard line of Malvern. The clock is moving toward halftime with 8:03 to go, and Benton leading 6-0.
John, one thing about our new offense that just absolutely has to work every time. There can't be any exception in it. The offensive line has to execute well. And if they execute well, this offense will just eat defenses alive.
Collett up to the line of scrimmage. Again, the ball on the far side, hash marks, play action fake. Brad threads the needle, finds, who was that? Brewer on the 30, down to the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers. Kyle Franks on the stop for the Malvern Leopards, and so the Panthers again move the chains, and again Brad Collett very cool under pressure, but I tell you, he's getting, and that was 18 yards on the play. Brad's getting good blocking up front from the line.
Excellent blocking. All of the offensive line starting all the way out with Scott Rivers and coming into Michael Moore and Reed Kaufman, the Cheney boy, Mike Cheney, and then right on over, we'll name them here in just a minute, John. They all deserve credit.
Ball on the 24-yard line as the Panthers move from left to right here in the second quarter. There's reverse. This time they give it back to Brewer, or is this Daniel? Daniel down to the 15, to the 10. Daniel still on his feet on the 5. Daniel, touchdown! Rick Daniel would not be denied as he takes the ball and rambles 25 yards for the touchdown as Benton leads it 12-0.
John, Rick Daniels is the #1 high school prospect in the state of Arkansas. He is being sought after by more colleges than any player in the state. And last year, Tracy Caldwell, of course, from Pine Bluff, was the man they were all after. Rick Daniels is the man this year. He's so versatile. He can play at so many different positions. We'll give Rick a lot of credit, but he has some good downfield blocking, too. Then Michael Grant was out there on the play, tight end, and just a great play there by the Benton Panthers. They did a good job.
So John Gray will come in, or we're going to go for 2 here. Let me look and make sure. We'll go for 2 here in this situation. Benton lines up on the full house wishbone, and now Brad Collett didn't like what he saw. He's called timeout, so we will go ahead and pause here with 7 minutes and 9 seconds to play in the first half, and Benton up by 12. We'll be back. You're listening to Benton Panther Football.
I wish that's on the barrel down there.
Can we tap onto yours? Are you listening to it right now?
I don't think I'm plugged up.
Okay. Back at Floyd Mann Field here, where the Panthers, Brad Collett got up to the line of scrimmage, Mike, and then decided he didn't like what he saw, called timeout.
I tell you, John, Brad Collett is a heads-up football player, and that's one of the reasons that Dwight Fite leaves these options up to him, because he sees things and he understands football so well. I don't know what Brad's ambitions are, but there'll be a day come if he chooses Brad Collett to be a fine coach.
So the Panthers are through with the conference, and it looks like we will have them going for two here one more time. Daniel will be split to the near side of the field. Of course, the Panthers lining up on the wishbone with Ian Perry and John Brewer at halfback. And now Collett takes the ball, and I think it went off up the middle. I didn't see, to the fullback. At any rate, they came up a little bit short. We have a timeout on the field once more. Our score, Benton 12, Malvern nothing. We'll be back in half a minute.
Well, this is great.
Oh, I can't hear you. I'm not hooked up. Why am I not getting it,
You should.
And some of my excellent analysis, I said the only way that we could attempt this is go for a pass, and they handed off to Brewer off left tackle, and he gained 9.5 yards for first down and kept us under drive. So John Brewer is going to leave a lot of memories behind at Benton. He's been a fine football player.
Well, Reed Kaufman is getting ready to kick off again now for the Benton Panthers. Back deep for the Malvern Leopards is Mark Traylor. Sid Henderson is flanked to the near side, but Traylor will take it, fumble it, will pick it back up on the 5, comes out to the 10, to the near side of the 15, on the 19, to the 20, and then he'll go finally out of bounds and driven out of there quite unmercifully there by Paige Eccles, who's in on the suicide team here for the Benton Panthers. And so the ball will be marked on the, let me look here. Well, he went out of bounds a little bit quicker than I thought he did. They're going to mark it back on the 17-yard line, and so that's where the Leopards will go to work from on the 17, first down and 10 yards to go.
John, that kick right there looked like it had a little bit of Rusty Kaufman's genes in it. Reed being the son of Rusty Kaufman, and Rusty being one of the best kickers that could ever come out of Benton.
Thus far, quarterback Chad Brashears has rushed 7 times for minus 11 yards here in this ball game. They take the ball, they hand off up the middle to the fullback. He's on the 25, the 30, across the 30 to the 33-yard line. And we have a new face in there for Malvern running the ball. That's Nathan Nolan in at fullback. And on the tackle for the Panthers was Matt Bowen. And so it's a 1st and 10 for the Malvern Leopards as they have the ball on their own 33-yard line, and they get out of that rather ghoulish situation they were in.
John, Malvern opened a fine hole that time, and that was some good power running. Dean Bird, who missed the tackle there, just doesn't miss those open field tackles very often.
16 yards on that carry there for Nathan Nolan. And this time they give it to Nolan again, and this time Nolan went nowhere as Matt Bowen was there to introduce himself to Nathan Nolan, a 5'7" sophomore, 150-pounder running at fullback tonight for the Malvern Leopards. That's a pickup of -2, second down and 12 yards to go now for the Leopards with 6:15 to go in the first half.
John, that was an absolutely excellent play by Matt Bowen. He split the tackle and guard right in two and was in the backfield when the ball was handed off. That was a great play defensively.
So here we go now with Brashears up to the line of scrimmage again. This time barking signals from the 30-yard line. Rolls to his right, wants to throw, sets, fires the pass, complete on the 50-yard line, the 45, to 40, to 35, down to the 30-yard line goes Doug Alpey of the Malvern Leopards, and it is a 1st and 10 as Malvern now finds themselves within striking distance of the Benton Panthers. John Brewer makes the stop in the secondary for Benton. And I'll tell you what, a great pass there by Chad Brashear, the quarterback, and he found Doug Alpey wide open in the middle. Last year, if you folks might want to know, that Chad Brashear's passed for 1,466 yards and 20 touchdowns on the year. And here he is again, the ball on the 30-yard line. Brashear, play-action fake, manages to pitch the ball over to Mark Traylor, and Traylor's hit right on the line. He may have been knocked for a yard loss back on the 31-yard line, hit by Adam Wright of the Panthers.
John Danny, excuse me, I think his first name is John Van Cleve. I'm not as familiar with him as I should be. Number 63 for the Panthers. Did a great job that time. He stood his man up, the right offensive tackle for Malvern, and penetrated into the backfield and allowed the other Panthers to come in and make the tackle. That also was a good defensive play.
Second down and 11. The ball on the 31-yard line, far side hash marks as Brashears takes the ball down the line, wants to throw, looks, fires the pass, intercepted by the Benton Panthers, if they'll give him credit for it, on the 21-yard line, as coming up with the ball was none other than Brian Holter.
John, I'll guarantee you see him going off the field right now. He's high-fiving, low-fiving, and he'll be down on the floor here in a minute, beating on the ground. When he comes back out on the field, he will be about 12 foot tall. When something like that happens to Brian Holter, he just takes advantage of it. That's a good break for the Panthers then, because really it seems like Brashears has started to warm up quite a bit at quarterback, and with his ability to throw the ball and the speed that Malvern has, we've got to contain the pass, or they'll be right back in this football game. And with us missing 2 extra points, I hope that doesn't come back to haunt us before this ball game's over. That always is a bad sign when you miss those 2 extra points in a game like this.
Benton will take a timeout. There was a little bit of confusion when they broke the huddle and came up to the line of scrimmage. So with 4:37 to play in the first half of the ball game, the Panthers leading 12-0. Let's pause for half a minute.
It's 4 for 9.
Who's that talking? I don't know. We're looking at Brad Collett's statistics right now. And Brad thus far has 53 yards in the air tonight, 2 out of 4, unofficially, of course. And Jerry Danduran is with us tonight, Mike, doing statistics. And I'll tell you what, you talk about somebody that's working hard. Jerry Danduran, he got 2 calculators, and he's already broke a sweat.
Well, and also he's got his back pocket computer in case anything goes wrong. So Jerry Danduran does a great job. I'm proud to have him here with us. He helps us a bunch.
The ball on the 21-yard line, and that's where Brad Collin and company go to work for the Benton Panthers. The ball on the far side hash marked, and Benton lines up on the wishbone now. And the ball goes straight up the middle, up into the secondary, across the 30, the 31-yard line. And that play broke so fast, I did not see who carried that ball for the Panthers that time.
John, I believe it was John Council.
I have to have some help here. John Council running the ball. Number 30 for the Benton Panthers, 5'10", 155 pounds. Mark Traylor on the tackle. And that is a 1st and 10 as John Council very quickly found himself into the Malvern secondary and took it all the way to the 32-yard line.
John, we got some white helmets in the ball game for Benton, and that indicates sophomores. But that's not to say that we've given up or we're letting up. It's they're equal players, and they're giving our other players a little breather right now.
Ball on the far side hash marks as Collett takes the ball and hands off to the halfback on the other side. He's across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
I'll help you a little bit with this, John, since I'm familiar with him. That was Tommy Burton on the play then, number 15. Folks will remember Tommy being on the 9th grade team last year playing fullback. This year they've moved him to a wingback and halfback position, and he's shown Coach Fight and the other staff in practice that he's wanting to play football and made really a great run right there. I remember this year in practice that him and Brian Holter hooked up on a blood alley play, and boy, it was a tremendous lick. So he's going to be a fine football player.
John Graves is flanked to the near side, and Brad Collett takes the ball. And this time we had a little bit of a miscue, I think, as Collett is tackled in the backfield back on the 37, back at the 36-yard line, I believe it is, for a loss on the play. That was on 3rd down and 5, and so now 4th down coming up for the Benton Panthers. I take that back. Let's make it 3rd down and 5 now. As anyway, we had a little bit of a busted play. No gain on the play. Ball on the 37-yard line as split to the near side now will be Darren Adams for the Panthers. Benton again lining up on the wishbone with 2 sophomores in the backfield. Brad Collett spins, takes the ball, hands off, and across the 40 to the 45-yard line for the Benton Panthers goes another one of those sophomores
that's Brent Black, John.
We don't have listed here. Brent Black carrying the ball.
Brent, another one of the outstanding sophomores that's come up in the crop this year, and I see Blake Jumper in there, number 4. He'll contribute as a receiver, but you got 2 hosses back there right now from the sophomores ranks, and Burton and Black.
And they both they picked up a 1st and 10 that time. Here is Burton with the ball across the midfield stripe, down to the 45, down to the 40. And Mark Traylor catches him by a shoestring on the 40-yard line. Otherwise, he might have broke that one all the way. And it's another 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers. We're down to 2 1/4 to play here in the first half of the ball game with the ball on the 40-yard line and the Panthers on the march.
John, one thing to keep in mind is that Benton for the last 7 or 8 years has been running out of a wishbone offense, and they're very familiar with that. These kids that are sophomores, that's the only thing that they are basically familiar with because they've run it the entire time that they've been playing football. So it could be, as long as we retain a lead like it is, that we'll see the wishbone only.
Well, we're having a little bit of a discussion right now with the referee for some reason. A momentary break in the action. Now we get that discussion out of the way, and the Panthers set up on the 40-yard line, running out of the wishbone. Perry at fullback. They take the ball, hand off Black. He's on the 35, the 30. Black drives his way down to the 26-yard line, and Traylor makes the tackle for the Malvern Leopards, and another 1st and 10. And right now, this backfield of Tommy Burton and Brent Black are tearing them up.
John, they are doing a great job, but I'm an old lineman. I've got to give a little credit. The offensive line is doing a fantastic job, and right after this play, I'd like to name each and every one of them to the folks that are watching and listening.
Here's Collett now on 1st down, takes the ball, hands off up the middle to Judd Fight. As Judd takes it and is hit right on the line, he manages to get across the 20, maybe to the 24-yard line. Scott Nolan on the stop for Malvern, and George Hathcock also, both a couple of big guys on the line.
John, we've got Bo Chaney playing center, Michael Moore at a guard, Reed Kaufman at a guard, Steve Wood at a tackle, and Scott Rivers at a tackle. They're doing a great job.
Benton in the wishbone. Here's Collett taking the ball, handing off Brent Black. Black takes the ball down to the 21-yard line.
Malvern's going to have too many men on the field, John.
Flags on the field, and we're down to 1:35 to play. Newbern on the last stop that time for the Malvern Leopards. And with too many men on the field, the Malvern Leopards will be assessed a penalty here. Referees talking things over with the captains for the Benton Panthers. And we'll get a penalty here, and the Panthers enhance their chances of getting another 6 points on the board. That'll move the ball down to the 19-yard line with 1:35 to go. Lining straight up in the middle of the field. The Panthers, Brad Collett checking the line, has his team set up in the wishbone formation. Formation they've been very, very successful with in years past. Collett swings it out to the backfield to Burton. Burton picks one guy up on his shoulders, takes him down to about the 18-yard line before losing his footing. George Hathcock was the guy who rode him down, and that will be within a yard of a 1st and 10, so let's make it 3rd down and 1 now for the Benton Panthers. Clock moving with 1 minute and 8 seconds to play as the Panthers have the ball on the 18-yard line. 3rd down and 1. Far side hash marks. Here's Collett spinning, handing off Burton. Burton takes it down to the 15, down to the 14-yard line. He's got the 1st and 10. Now we have a timeout called momentarily while they move the chains. That'll stop the clock down to 56 seconds to play. It was Michael Teague on that last stop, incidentally, for the Malvern Leopards. The ball on the 14-yard line. Panthers break out of the huddle and up to the line of scrimmage. This time, Blake Jumper will be split to the near side of the field. Ball on the far side, hash marks. Here's the give to Black. Brent Black into the line, spinning. There's a flag down as Brent takes it to about the 12-yard line. And we'll see what this penalty might be.
John, one adjustment that Malvern's made is that they've brought a different defensive tackle in the ball game. The defensive tackle they had starting the ball game was outweighed by Steve Woods by about 100 pounds, so they brought another man in to try to beef up their line just a little bit. Looks like the penalty's going to go against Benton, however.
So they'll walk off a penalty against the Panthers, which will bring it back upfield. Illegal procedure, which will put it on the 19-yard line. And so with 36 seconds and counting, the Panthers here are still within striking distance. One setback as the Panthers move to the wing T formation. The original starters in here. John Brewer on the reverse, and he will not go as Brewer is thrown backwards on the 25-yard line by one of the Malvern Leopards breaking in there. And so the Leopards now throw the Panthers back with 18 seconds to go until halftime. The ball back on the 25-yard line. Far side hash marks. Again, the Panthers lining up in the wing T. Brewer in a slot to the right, Daniel in motion, and they're going to throw a flag here. Pass is complete to Brewer down to the 13-yard line, but the penalty was going to be assessed against the Panthers for illegal procedure more than likely.
Yeah, John, what happened was Rick Daniels moved toward the line of scrimmage too soon. Before the guy that's in motion cannot make an advancement forward toward the line of scrimmage before the ball snapped, and that's something in practice that Coach Fight warned them over, but we're going to have to run this offense a little bit more to get used to it and to learn those things so that it doesn't happen. Well-executed play other than that, and we're going to have John Graves come in and try a long field goal, John. Let's see how he does.
All right, Graves will come in to attempt a field goal here as just 2 seconds left to be played in the first half of the ball game. One of the Malvern coaches is out on the field to direct his group, and Graves will get his toe into it from the 37-yard line. This will be a 47-yard attempt here for the Panther kicking expert. Well, that Malvern coach giving some last-minute instructions to his club.
I really don't understand how the referees are letting that happen, John.
Unless they called a timeout we didn't see. Let's see what happens now as Graves will attempt a 47-yarder. And the kick is on the tee. The kick is up, and the kick sails toward the uprights. It is good! John Graves hits a 47-yarder that gives the Benton Panthers a 15-0 lead as the clock runs out. That's the end of the first half, and I think that certainly brought the crowd on the far side of the field to life, Mike.
John, it excites me. I had the great fortune of being able to kick when I played ball, and boy, to see a 47-yard field goal in high school, that is absolutely fantastic. It was pretty, and I loved it. That shows us that we've got a threat this year from out far out, and man, that was beautiful. I know John Graves is on cloud 9 right now, and I'm proud for him. He's a good kid.
Well, that brings us to intermission as the Benton Panthers lead it 15-0 here at Floyd Mann Field in Malvern. Their home opener, or actually their season opener, the home opener for the Malvern Leopards. We're going to pause for a minute. We'll be back right after these words. Jerry, do me a favor. We're going to have to tell this drive to pick up. Can we tap into your radio? Get it on the air. Okay. Get it on the air. Make sure you plug it up over there. Let me. In the wrong place. She can go next door. Okay, just like it is. Other way left. Do what? Well, we're back in Floyd Mann Field. John Riddle along with Mike Woodall and Jerry Danduran, and we are just about ready to begin the second half of the ball game as the Malvern Leopards will be kicking to the Benton Panthers to begin the third quarter. The Leopards will again be defending the east goal, and the Panthers will be defending the west goal here on this field. This field here looks in good shape, but I want to tell you, Mike, last night when we went over there to the junior high game, old C.W. Lewis Stadium is in tremendous shape also.
John, we need to make mention of who's doing that, too. It's Coach Jones, the new coach that come in and replaced Perry Goodell. And Perry Goodell did those honors in the years past and did a great job. And Coach Jones has come in and just really done a great job. It looks like a big-time field over there, and we're proud of it. And I'm proud to have Coach Jones here. He's been a good inspiration to these young kids.
Well, right now, the kicker for the Malvern Leopards is getting set to get the ball teed up, and we're going to get the second half underway. The kicker here for Malvern is Michael Langley, and the deep man for the Panthers will be John Brewer, as Brewer stands on around the 10-yard line to receive the kick. And Langley gets the signal from the referee. The third quarter is underway, and Langley drives a kick end over end that Brewer takes on the 5-yard line out to the 10 to the 15, cuts inside of the 20, loses his mouthpiece, and finally falls forward to the 25-yard line, and he lost that mouthpiece because he got popped pretty good.
John, for the folks that are listening on the radio and that won't be able to watch it on TV, that looked like one of those boxing licks where the boxer knocks a mouthpiece out of the other man's mouth. It was a tremendous lick, but there again, John Brewer was able to stay on his feet and fall forward, but that was licked. So Malvern by no means is let down. Their intensity level is very high right now.
Ball on the 25-yard line. The Panthers moving from right to left here as we look down on the turf at Claude Mann Field. Rick Daniel will be split to the near side as the Panthers will line up in the wishbone with Brad Collett at the controls tonight. The Leopards with a 5-man front defensively. They give it to Brewer. He spins across the 25. Brewer drives up to the 28-yard line, and the Malvern Leopards close the gap at that point. On the tackle for Malvern that time was Scotty Dedman, and Traylor also in there. It'll be a gain of 3, 2nd down and 7 yards to go for the Panthers. 11 minutes and 13 seconds left to play, third quarter. Benton leading 15-0 here in the early moments of the third quarter. They break out of the huddle. The ball on the far side, hash marks. Coming to the near side of the field is Darren Adams. Again, the Panthers show the wishbone. Here's Collett taking the ball. Play action fake. Rolls to the near side. Got some open field in front of him. He's on the 30, the 35, and steps out of bounds on the 37-yard line. Just almost dead even from what I can see with the first down marker. It should be a 1st and 10 here, and the referee signals so, and we do have a 1st and 10. Nice running by Brad Collett. You know, Brad is, you think of Brad as a passer, but he fools you every once in a while. He can run that ball.
John, Brad's a very intelligent young man, and right at the last second there, he ducked right under the defender and was able to get another yard or 2 out of the carry.
John Graves will be split to the near side. Benton again to the wishbone. Collett, the quarterback, ball on the near side, hash marks. Collett takes the ball, hands off, and taking it up to the 39-yard line for the Benton Panthers is Dean Bird, who's in the lineup now for the first time in the ball game. Out across the 35, and Bird picks up about a yard, not much there, as he takes it up to the 38. It'll be 2nd down and 9 yards to go for Benton. You know, one thing I don't think we've mentioned tonight is the stable of running backs that Coach Fight has cultivated at Benton this year.
John, I was just thinking about it, and of course, right now we've got a sophomore, Tommy Burton, back in the backfield, so they do have some relief back there to give the other guys a rest.
Play action fake. Pass out for Rick Daniel is just a little bit over his head on the 40-yard line, and that will bring up 3rd down and 9 yards to go. Good call, though, that time.
If you remember last year, John, against El Dorado, that was the exact same pattern that Rick Daniel scored 2 touchdowns on. And Brad, this is the first game, and he's just a little bit rusty on that particular play. The ball's got to be laid right in there perfectly, but they will get that down, and Rick's breaking in the open, but the ball is just not quite there.
To show you, again, the depth that Benton has in the backfield, 9 rushers have carried the ball thus far in the ball game. Here's Collett, keeping Collett in trouble. Collett still manages to get some flush yardage, though, as he takes it across the 40 up to the 41-yard line, but that will bring up 4th down as the Malvern defense has stiffened a little bit here on this drive here for the Benton Panthers, and so Benton will be forced to punt the ball, and the Leopards will get it back with 9 minutes and 53 seconds remaining to be played here in the third quarter, I should say, of the ball game. Ball on the far side, hash marks, as dropping back to punt the ball for the Benton Panthers, standing on around the 19-yard line. And I can't see his number right here. Brian Holder. Okay, thank you, Mike. And Holder gets the kick away, and he will kick it, and it's picked up by the Malvern man on the 30, the 35. There's flags. He's on the 40, the 45, midfield, 40, 30. He'll break and score, but we have flags back upfield, and that will nullify a fine run here by the Malvern Leopards. Carrying the ball was Philip Jimerson, and but we had flags thrown almost immediately.
John, it amazes me why that a player will do it, but it happens. It's just that you want to get downfield and you want to make a block, but the Malvern defender just annihilated one of our Benton players right in the back, and I mean right in front of the official, and those things won't go unnoticed. Then upfield, we had another penalty, which probably was another clip, but it was a beautiful run, but probably may not have developed into that run if it hadn't been for the clip.
So that'll nullify the run by Jimerson, and we'll wait and get the official signal. It is a clip against the Leopards. Boy, I tell you what, we have Coca-Cola man coming in here right now, and I'm mighty proud to see that. Go ahead, Mike. What was it?
John, we had offsetting penalties. We had a clip on Malvern and a face mask against Benton, so it's going to offset, and they'll repunt the ball.
So here we go, as Brian Holter will drop back to punt again. And again, the deep man for the Malvern Leopards will be Philip Jimerson. Jimerson standing at around the 20-yard line. As we had, as you heard Mike say, offsetting penalties. 15-0 our score. The Benton Panthers with the lead, trying to come away with a win here in the first game of the season against always tough Malvern. This time, Holter will get his toe into it on the 32-yard line. Will angle it toward the side of the field, and the Panthers' coverage is downfield before Jefferson can even get over there to it. And the ball goes out of bounds on the 18-yard line, and that's where the Leopards will take over, first down and 10 yards to go.
I don't guess we want to rub it in the ground, but Malvern clipped again on that play, but the referee just didn't catch it. I don't know if that means anything other than maybe that the intensity level of the Malvern Leopards is real high, and they're just anxious to try to do something, make something happen. But that right there was an excellent play to have happen for the Panthers, because they got a 41-yard punt out of it by Holter and put Malvern deep in their own field.
So here we go now as Brashears and company up for the line of scrimmage. The ball on the 18-yard line. Brashear comes out chunking, fires the pass. It's going to be incomplete as he swung it out to Sid Henderson up on the 24-yard line, but Henderson couldn't keep his hands on it. And so it will be second down and 10 yards to go for the Leopards. And the fans here telling their team to try to settle down a little bit. And I tell you what, Malvern has good fans here. They get behind their ball club.
Oh, they do a great job. And Malvern thus far doesn't have anything to be ashamed of. It's just that Benton has put together a couple of good drives and good plays. That's a good indication of what Malvern's going to do. They're going to come out burning us, try to burn us with that pass.
Here's Brashears pitching out Jefferson. He's on the 20, the 25. Jefferson cuts up on the 30. Jefferson will be slammed down on the 31-yard line as Rick Daniel comes in to get his hands on him, but not before Phil Jefferson picks up a 1st and 10 for the Malvern Leopards.
John, that's something we're going to have to be careful of. We're playing the pass too hard, and our line is making a hard rush in to try to get to the quarterback, and we're losing our containment that we've got on the outside, and we're just going to have to play the whole field and not just the pass.
Ball just across the 30-yard line. One setback behind Brashears. The senior quarterback here for the Malvern Leopards. He takes it across the 30 to the 34-yard line. And the Benton Panthers wrap him up at that spot. Getting up off the bottom of the pile for the Benton Panthers was, one of them was Adam Wright. And, of course, Brian Holter also getting in there, grabbing him by the shoestrings. It's a gain of 3, second down and 7 yards to go. The pigskin on the 34-yard line. 8 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the third quarter. Malvern running from left to right here. This time the Leopards will send John Foles to the near side of the field. Quick pass out of the vicinity of Foles, but it was thrown behind him. And so that will bring up a third down situation now for Malvern as Chris Martin was covering on the play for the Panthers.
John, that ball was thrown so fast that Chris just couldn't look up and get his eye on it and make the interception. But, boy, if he had, it would have been clear sailing for him right down the sideline. He had open field all the way.
Doug Alpe checks in, and splitting to the near side of the field is Sid Henderson, the flanker. One setback behind Brashear, and we have Traylor in a slot to the left. Back to pass goes Brashear, fires it out there, intended for Alpe, incomplete. And again, Brashear trying to thread the needle in between Ian Perry and Gary Tidball, and Tidball covering on the play, and that will bring up fourth down, and the Panthers defense has once again sent Malvern to the bench.
John, it was a well-defended play that time. When Gary Tidball goes over to the sideline, the coach is going to look up at him and say, Gary, be watching for the ball, because Gary was zeroing in then to make a pop on the receiver and really had an opportunity to intercept the ball.
So Chad Brashears will step back to the 20-yard line.
They're going for the block, John.
Panthers lining everybody up as John Brewer, the lone back on the 30-yard line. And coming in is Dean Bird to block the ball. It's going to be picked up with the Panthers on the 5, the 10, the 5, and into the end zone goes Gary Tidball for the Benton Panthers as he scrambles 21 yards on the block punt to pick up the score.
That's something they worked on, John, and we talked about it earlier, and I believe in our pregame that when the Panthers shift like that right prior to the ball being snapped, it does several things. Number one, it gets the center nervous, it gets the kicker nervous, and we're able to penetrate because they hadn't lined up to block our men coming through. They worked on it. Bruce and I were over this week watching in practice. They worked on it in practice, and we're hopeful tonight that they would be successful, and they were. Great job of a block punt by the Panthers. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Tidball picked the ball up and ran it on in the end zone for a touchdown. That's the kind of scores you want. It makes it easier on your defense.
So the Panthers now lead 21-0, and John Graves will come in to attempt the extra point. 7 minutes and 45 seconds to play in the third quarter, and now some of the Malvern hopeful are looking a little dejected down here. We're right in, almost in the crowd tonight here at Claude Mann Field. So we can see these long faces on the Malvern side, but the Panther faithful are, and who are out here in many numbers tonight, are happy over there. Here's Graves' extra point attempt. It's up. It's good. Timeout on the field as Benton leads 22-0 over Malvern, and you're listening to Benton Panther football.
Hey, that working on that over in practice paid off, didn't it? I didn't catch who blocked it. I think it was Dean Bird, number 32.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, they worked on that this week.
Back at Claude Mann Field here in Malvern, where the Benton Panthers have taken a bigger lead over the Malvern Leopards, 22-0, after Dean Bird comes in and blocked Chad Bashir's attempt to punt. And, of course, Gary Tidball picked it up and advanced it into the end zone for the lead, which made it 21-0. And now we're getting a penalty assessed here against the Benton Panthers. This is something I didn't pick up here a while ago, Mike. Did you?
John, I missed it myself. We were standing up here talking about how well the block punt was executed, and I just didn't see it. I apologize to the fans, but we'll try to find out what it is.
15-yard penalty will put the ball on the 25-yard line. That's where Reed Kaufman will kick from. The deep man is Mark Traylor for Malvern. And Kaufman comes up, puts his toe into the ball, and sends it skyward, and it'll be picked up on the far side on the 30-yard line by Henderson. Henderson is on the 35, and now he'll be danced backwards. There's Henderson going all the way down to the 28-yard line, and getting in there to bring him down was Brewer, I believe, for the Benton Panthers.
John, the initial stop then was by Tommy Burton. I apologize for correcting you there, but Tommy's worked extremely hard. He's a sophomore, as I said, and he did a picture-perfect tackle. The coaches will show that back and forth on the film when they see it next week to show folks how you're supposed to tackle.
So the ball on the 34-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go for Brashear and company as they break the huddle up to the line of scrimmage. They'll send Henderson to the near side. Ball in the middle of the field, and one setback. That's Jimerson. Traylor in a slot. They give it to Jimerson straight ahead, the 40 to 45. Jimerson finally brought down on the 47-yard line, and on the tackle, Dean Bird for the Panthers. It's a 1st and 10. And again, just straight up the middle with Phil Jimerson running the ball. He's 5'9", 169 pounds, but he looks a lot heavier than that.
If he weighs 169 pounds, he's not anything but a head and then a muscle below it, because he is rock solid.
He sure is. Rambled 13 yards on that carry. From the 47-yard line, the Leopards have the ball in the middle of the field. Henderson split to the near side. Back to pass goes Brashear, coming to the near side, looking. Now he's going to have some problems, and he throws the ball. It's going to be batted away. Almost threw it to Brian Holter, but Jimerson gets rid of it. It'll be ruled incomplete. Adam Wright also in there putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 2nd down and 10 now.
John Allen Bearden came across that time containing from the defensive end side over here on the left-hand side of the Benton defense, and he contained long enough to make the quarterback Brashear slow up, and Adam Wright caught him from behind, and that easily could have been a turnover right there, but he luckily got the ball away.
2nd and 10 as they send Henderson to the near side. Ball again in the middle of the field. One setback behind Brashear, the quarterback for Malvern. Benton with a 50 defense. Brashear this time rolls to the far side, fires the pass. It's complete to the tight end. He's down to the 40, down to the 37-yard line. And running that ball for the Leopards that time was Reed Hodges, and it was Russ Browning on the stop for the Benton Panthers. 1st and 10 for Malvern as the Leopards have the ball on the Benton 37-yard line, and that's a position that they haven't been in too often this evening. It will be Henderson flanked to the near side of the field. Again, the setback is Jimerson. with Traylor in a slot to the left. Down the line goes the quarterback, Brashears. He's on the 30. He's on the 25, down to the 24-yard line and out of bounds. And another 1st and 10 for Malvern as Brian Holter comes in to make the stop, along with Rick Daniel for the Panthers. So again, the Leopards move the chains with 6:27 to play in the 3rd quarter, trailing by 22 points.
John, that's something that our defense, being young like they are, is just going to have to, they're going to have to play the whole field. Right now, our defense is thinking pass, 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 and when they do that, they play just a little differently, and our line has a tendency to rush a little harder, and they overrun plays.
This time, Sid Henderson is split to the far side. David Alfie to the near side. Here's Brashears taking the ball, handing off up the middle to Jimerson. Not Jimerson, but, Jimerson, I'm sorry, down to the 10. Jimerson all the way down to about the 5-yard line. Rick Daniel on the tackle for the Benton Panthers. They're going to mark it, I believe, on the 8-yard line. 1st and goal for Malvern. And again, there's what you talk about, looking for the pass, and they fooled him with a draw play.
John, our left tackle is pinching down toward their guard, and then they're blocking out on our defensive end, and it's just leaving a big hole. The Malvern coaches in the press box have seen something, and they've passed it on down to the field.
Brashears bark signals from the 8-yard line, takes the ball, hands off Henderson. Henderson down to the 5, down to the 2-yard line, maybe even down to the 1-yard line. We'll wait and see where they mark it when they unravel. Gary Tidball on the stop for the Panthers, and they have put the ball right on the 1-yard line. So Malvern now looking at 2nd down and goal with the ball on the 1. The Leopards up to the line of scrimmage. They're wanting to score here badly. Power I formation. Here's Brashears trying to sneak it in. He does. Touchdown as Malvern gets on the board with 5 minutes and 34 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Leopards have come back on a 66-yard, 6-play drive to get their first points of the evening.
John, it's exactly what we said at halftime. This Malvern team's not going to quit by any means. David Alfie coach team is just isn't going to give up. And let's give Malvern credit. Their offense did a good job executing that time, and they ran some blast plays off the right side, and then they come back with a counter as the extra point's up, and it's good. It gives Malvern 7 points. They come back with a counter play to the other side. They had our defense overreacting, and Malvern did a fantastic job, and let's pat them on the back. They're not what you would say back in the ball game, but they're on their way, working their way back into the ball game.
The extra point attempt was up and good. Timeout on the field. Benton leading 22-7. Let's pause for half a minute, and for station identification, you're listening to Benton Panther football. Langley comes up, gets his toe into the ball as the Malvern Leopards kick off to the Benton Panthers after scoring. John Brewer with the ball on the 20, down to the 25, the 30. Brewer up to the 33.5, maybe the 34-yard line before being upended. Getting up off the bottom of the pile for the Malvern Leopards was John Foles, and so the Benton Panthers will take over now on the 34-yard line. 1st down and 10 yards to go. 5:28 going in the 3rd quarter, plenty of time, and I know the Panthers now want to get a big drive going here.
Well, they've brought in the two sophomore backs, Burton and Black, and John, probably what it looks like they'll do is come out in the wishbone and really try to eat the clock up and keep ball control at this point in the ball game.
Brad Collett looks at the Malvern defenders, 5-man front. Collett takes the ball, play action fake, wants to throw, fires the pass, complete up to the 44-yard line. And we have a man shaken up on the play, Mark Traylor on the tackle, and I did not see who that pass was completed to. It happened so quickly.
I believe, John, it was Rick Daniels. Looks to me like he's probably got the wind knocked out of him by the way they're treating him there on the field. It was a pretty good lick.
11 yards on the play for a 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers. We got a time field where Rick Daniel comes off the field with no problem at all, and the Benton Panthers now have a 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line. The ball goes off to I believe this is Black carrying the ball up to the 50, down to the Malvern 49-yard line. So a nice 5-yard gain there by Brent Black. George Hathcock on the stop for Malvern. We have another Panther on the ground right now. Mike?
John, that's Michael Moore. He's one of our leading offensive guards, and he's, by the way they're treating him on the field, it looks like he's got a severe cramp. And with heat the way it is tonight, those things are going to happen. You can cramp up pretty easy. And Michael's done a good job. In fact, Coach Jones commented on him this morning to me that he's probably one of the most improved offensive linemen, if not the most improved offensive lineman on the team, and he's in a whole lot of pain down there right now.
So we have another break in the action here while they work on that injured Panther. I tell you, this time of year you can and Panthers up to the line of scrimmage now, just inside Leopard territory on the 49-yard line in the wishbone. Here's Collett taking the ball, handing off Tommy Burton. Burton tripped up on the 46-yard line. And we have
got a flag back here, John. It's almost in the area where you're going to see a hold, and that's what the referee's indicating. That's going to be a costly penalty for the Panthers.
Michael T. All on the far side hash marks. The Panthers in the wishbone. Collett at the controls. 5-man front for the Leopards. Collett play action fake. Rolls to the far side. Looking. He's going to run now. He's on the 45. Midfield 45, 40, 35, 30. Collett on the 25, the 20, the 15, and down at about the 13-yard line. Knocked out of bounds. And I tell you what, a nice piece of running by Brad Collett. We have a flag on the play.
John, we got a clip down at our tight end.
Ball on the far side, hash marks. Leopards for the 50 defense. Here's the snap, play action fake, back to pass to Collett. Graves has it on the 19, the 15. Graves on the 10, the 5, touchdown.
John, that was actually a busted pass play that time. Collett was hit just as he threw the ball, and it was falling short, and John Graves, being an alert player that he is, was able to come back to the ball and caught it and cut across the drain and went in for the touchdown. It wasn't a beautiful play, but by golly, it got 6 points on the board, and that's all that counts.
35 yards on the play for the Benton Panthers as they now pull out to a 28-7 lead over the Malvern Leopards. And from a psychological standpoint, that's what Coach Dwight Fite wanted to do on this for the next possession after Leopards scored, and just cram it down their throat and score, and that has to demoralize Malvern quite a bit.
Well, absolutely. In fact, the coaches are standing over on the Malvern sideline right now saying, well, what have we got to do to get back in this ball game?
Graves' extra point attempt is up. It is good. We have a timeout on the field as Benton leads 29-7, and you're listening.
John, they've been real balanced. I'd like to see here in just a minute what they have running, rushing, and also passing, and just see how balanced they've been, because this is an aspect of the game that really we haven't seen. Reed Coffin kicking off deep now to the Malvern Leopards.
And it hits on the 5, will go into the end zone for a touchback, and the Leopards will take it on the 20-yard line. And right now, everything is going right for the Benton Panthers.
I don't believe they could have asked for anything better to have happen here, but I think it goes back to the fact that when you get together and you work on the off season like these guys have, and hit the weights like they have, you get strong and you stay conditioned. And some folks were concerned as to our baseball program at Benton, this being the first year, as to whether our off season would be as productive in football. But looks to me like we've had a pretty good productive off season thus far.
Sid Henderson split to the near side, I formation as Chad Brashears bark signals for the Malvern Leopards, takes the ball down the line, pitches it out now to Trailer, I believe it is. Check that, Jimerson, I should say, across the 20. Jimerson up to the 24-yard line, and Adam Wright brings him down. That's a gain of about 3 on the play. Make it 4 on the play. Second down and 6 yards to go coming up here for the Leopards. The ball on the 24.
Down that time, Brian Holter hit the quarterback just as he pitched the ball and stayed there and talked to him for just a minute. And I got an idea what Brian was saying was, when you get down to the end of the year, look for my name because it's going to be in lights.
Jimmerson on the night has 47 yards of total offense this evening. So he's having a pretty good night here for the Malvern Leopards. Ball on the far side, hash mark. Here's Brashears pitching out. Jimmerson fumbles the ball, scramble for it. Who's going to get it? Malvern, Benton? I don't know. They're still scrambling for it, and I think the Benton Panthers have come up with it on the 13-yard line. Yes, they have. Who came up with the ball for the Benton Panthers? Getting up off the bottom of the pile is whom? I cannot see.
It was Alan Bearden, John.
Alan Bearden has come up with it for the Benton Panthers, and so Benton now has an opportunity here to add more points. The ball on the 14-yard line, and the Panthers are right now doing no wrong.
John, we got Paige Eccles coming in the ball game at quarterback. He's a sophomore, and Coach Fight's going to give him a little bit of game time experience in case anything should happen to call it, and where that he can come in and do a good job.
Eccles, an outstanding wishbone quarterback last year for the 9th grade junior high team, led them to a championship. Here's the ball up the middle. Judd Fight the 5. Judd down to the goal line and gets in. But we have flags on the play here. Or maybe he didn't get in. I think he got down to about the 1-foot line anyway.
John, that's got to be a face mask penalty by the defender on Judd Fight. The way the official was in position there and there was no one else around, I don't believe it could be anything else but that.
Michael Langley was the gentleman that brought down Fight. Let's see what they're going to do here. Referee talking things over with Paige Eccles. And they're just going to put it down. That is the call, face mask against the Malvern Leopards. It'll be half distance to the goal, which will put it down on the 1-yard line. So that's where the Benton Panthers have it, with an opportunity here to score. The ball on the 1-yard line with 2:44 to play, third quarter. Paige Eccles is the quarterback now, and we see some more sophomores out there for the Panthers. Split to the near side is Blake Jumper. Benton lining up in the wishbone with Burton and Black, the halfbacks. Judd Fight, the fullback. Paige Eccles calling the shots. He takes the ball, fakes up the middle. I checked that. He handed it off to Fight, who's into the end zone for the touchdown. And the Benton Panthers now score one more time and pull out to a 35-7 lead over the Malvern Leopards.
John, it's going to be leave so much of what he has to say. We've got John Graves in attempting another extra point.
Kicks on the tee. Graves puts the ball up and in, and Benton now leads 36-0 with 2:25 to play in the third quarter, and you're listening to Benton Panther football. Good fight.
I'll take a cup. Yeah. Substitutions to give some players, some game time experience just in case they're needed in a game. And the only problem you have with that is a lot of times a team like Malvern can put a drive together against some kids that hadn't been in there and had the experience that the first-team ball players do.
Here's Traylor with the ball on the 20, the 25. Traylor up to the 30 after Reed Kaufman kicked it in the air, so Malvern will have it on the 30. And Kaufman, the kicker, was the tackler that time. With 2:20 to play in the third quarter, the Panthers defense checks in, and the Malvern offense comes back out on the field. Malvern trying to figure out how in the world they're going to get some points on the board. Malvern has made some mistakes tonight, though, that have cost them, and they've paid for them.
John, the first-team defense is remaining in there, and I'm sure the very reason for that is because they know Malvern's going to open up and just start throwing everything at them.
High formation. Brashears, bark signals, takes the ball, hands off Jimmerson. Jimmerson hit on the 30, up to the 32-yard line. Not much there as he tests the middle of the line there for the Benton Panthers. There's a flag on the ground. And Brian Holter getting up off the bottom of the pile. Also there for the Benton Panthers was Russ Browning.
Got a face mask penalty against Benton, John.
That's not going to make their defensive coaches very happy.
No, and something I was just thinking, John, that deserves note. Last year we had some what we call blue chip ball players on the Benton team, and of course we've got some this year. But one thing I've noticed tonight in this ball game is that it's been a total overall effort by each individual player. There really hadn't been what you would call just an outstanding player. It's been just 11 men on the field playing as hard as they can play and doing a great job.
One stat that Dwight White not going to be happy with, eight penalties tonight, 70 yards assessed against the Benton Panthers. Here's Jemerson again. Jemerson across the 45, scrambles his way up to the 48-yard line. And on the tackle for the Panthers, getting in there was Brian Holter. It's a gain of a couple. Second down, 8 yards to go for the Leopards. We're winding down to 1:32 to play in the third quarter.
Some of those penalties, John, are going to they're going to go away after these first 2 or 3 ball games. It's just mental mistakes that they're going to have happen early in the season, and then they will work on those.
Ball on the far side, hash marks. Henderson flanked on the near side. Here's the quarterback for Shears keeping. He's tripped up on the line. Lost the ball momentarily, but got it back on the 47-yard line. Actually lost a yard on that play. So that will bring up third down. They're going to put it back out. Third down and 9, so they'll put it on the 47-yard line.
John, I believe old Adam Wright that made that tackle there has been doing a little bulldogging because he looked like he was steer wrestling on that play. He brought the quarterback right down on top of his head.
Sid Henderson is flanked to the near side here for third and 9. I formation. Chet Shears takes the ball. Hands off up the middle to Jemerson. He's on the 45, the 40, the 35. Jemerson fighting on the 30, down to the 28-yard line. And check that, Mark Traylor carrying the ball for Malvern, and he's down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line for a first and 10. And Brewer on the stop for the Benton Panthers.
He just kept going. They just couldn't bring him down. He was twisting and turning and using that lower body strength that young man has. And, he's a good-looking football player. In fact, Coach Alpy today told me that he's been contacted by several schools with a lot of interest in that young man.
24 yards on the carry for Mark Traylor. High formation. Here's Shears. Now he hands off to Jemerson. Jemerson, though, won't go anywhere. He's hit on the 31-yard line, and there's flags all over the field.
I feel like we're going to get another face mask penalty, John. That we're gang tackling, and when you come in like we are right there, you're reaching and grabbing and the way that their backs twist and turn, you're going to reach and grab for a shoulder pad, and about that time they make a turn and you grab a face mask, and it's a penalty in football that needs to be called because it can be a gravely injuring blow to a player to receive that kind of lick.
So they walk off a 15-yarder against the Benton Panthers. That'll put it all the way down to the 17-yard line. After you that face mask penalty assessed against them, we're down to 15 seconds to play in the third quarter. And coming to the far side of the field, or near side of the field, I should say, is Sid Henderson. Ball on the far side, hash marks, I formation. Shears takes the ball, and up the middle it goes to the fullback, Traylor, and he goes nowhere. Not much there at all for Traylor as he's hit by Holter and Bird. And that is the end of the third quarter as the Benton Panthers are leading after 3, 35-7. You're listening to Benton Panther football. They don't give up. They keep fighting. They keep coming right back at you.
Well, you know what they've got to do, John, is for their season, they've got, right now they're trying to play to keep their composure together and their confidence together.
Here's Shears keeping now as he takes it down to the 10, down to the 8-yard line. And Chad Shears is awfully close to a first and 10 for his club. Well, maybe a little bit short. He needed to get down to about the 6, and they'll mark it on the 8-yard line. It was Gary Tidball on the tackle for the Benton Panthers.
John, that statistic you just gave right there of a secondary man making a tackle is exactly what defensive coaches don't want to hear. They want the linebackers and offensive linemen to be in on the most of the tackles.
Here's Shears bumping into one man, gets away though. He's on the 5. He's got the first and 10 as he's down to around the 4-yard line here for the Malvern Leopards. So that now will set up a first and goal for Malvern as they have an opportunity to cut into the Benton Panther lead here a little bit.
John, I realize what happens when you get a 36-7 lead. You have a tendency to let down just a little bit, but really what the Benton coaches are wanting the defense to do is dig in and show that they can stop this offensive drive.
Ball on the 2-yard line. First down, goal to goal. Here's the give. It's Jemerson, slams into the line. Touchdown, Malvern. As the Malvern Leopards get on the board, 36-13 now. And we'll see what the Leopards elect to do on this extra point attempt. Will they go for 1 or 2?
Well, they're definitely discussing it just a little bit, John, and you know, really and truly, that Brashear stays in the ball game. I believe they're going to go for 2. They're thinking, hey, you know, we've got 11 minutes to play here, and there's not any reason for us to say that this ball game's over. Let's don't quit and don't give up. Let's continue to play.
So here we go for 2 now. I formation. Brashear's calling the shots, takes the ball, rolls to his right, looks, fires a pass in the end zone, and they can't hang on to it, as Mark Traylor couldn't get a handle on it, and the score remains Malvern trailing Benton 36-13. And Graves grabs it on the run on the 10-yard line, drops it, picks it up. He's up to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. Graves up to the 29-yard line, and finally the Malvern black jerseys catch up with him. Otis Phillips makes the stop.
Utility, I guess.
And here's Paige Eccles for the Benton Panthers with the ball on the 29-yard line. Benton running out of the wishbone. Paige takes the ball and hands off up the middle. It went to John Council, and John stacked up right on about the 31-yard line. Jamie Staley on the stop for Malvern. Not much of a gain there. They're going to mark his forward progress up to the 32-yard line, so give him 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
John, we do have some substitute players in the ball game right now. Nearly the entire offensive line and are in, well, I believe we have the whole second team unit in there right now.
Ball on the far side, hash mark. Eccles the quarterback. Benton running out of the wishbone, looking at a 5-man Malvern front. Eccles takes the ball, going to keep it, runs it to the near side. He's on the 30-yard line, the 35, across that to the 36, and that's all. On the tackle was Stephen Newthorne for hash marks. 5-man front for the Malvern Leopards. They hand off Black. Brent Black takes it up to the 39, up close to the 1st and 10. Then the Malvern defense shoves him back. Let's see if Brent was able to get up close enough for the 1st and 10. I don't believe so. Ball on the 39-yard line. Here's Brad Collett taking the ball, handing off to Brent Black. He limps across the 40 and then dives up to the 44-yard line. Looks like they had him on about the 42, and he got the extra yardage just on sheer second effort. Stephen Newthorne on the tackle for Malvern. It's a gain of 5, 2nd down and 5 yards to go for the Panthers.
John, we got Gary Tidball in now, the quarterback for the Panthers.
This kind of a lead, don't want to take a chance on hurting Brad Collett. Up the middle it goes to about the 46-yard line. And carrying the ball that time for the Benton Panthers was the fullback David Delamar. On the stop was Cole Dugan. So again, 5-man front for the Malvern Leopards. There's a give Tommy Burton. Burton takes it across the 50 down to the Leopard 49-yard line, and a 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers. Chris Gray on the stop for the Malvern Leopards. So again, the Panthers have moved the chains, and with 7:16 to play, this is the kind of drive that you really want in this part of the ball game. You don't want to, Malvern's just scored, and again, the Panthers just want to take it and drive it right down their throat.
Yeah, and John, what happens a lot of times in this is that the defense gets bored with it, and you know, we break along when you got the power back there with Burton and Black and John Council in there right now. There's just a real good opportunity for a long game to be broke and an exciting night for a young man.
Here's Tidball taking the ball, handing off Burton again, and Tommy Burton bangs his way down for a couple, down to the 47-yard line. George Hapcock on the stop. So it's a gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Benton Panthers. They need to get down to the 39 of Malvern for another 1st and 10. We're down to 6:37 to play in the game. The Panthers leading 36-13. Ball will be spotted on the near side hash marks when this play is run. Tidball has the signal called. Blake Jumper splits to the wide side of the field. Ball on the near side hash marks. And again, the Malvern Leopards with a 5-man front defensively. Tidball takes the ball. He'll keep it this time. He's on the 45. Tidball to the 40, the 39-yard line, and another 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers. Stephen Newthorne on the stop for the Malvern Leopards.
John, that was well executed there by a young man that doesn't play quarterback very much in practice or anything. He's got the option there to come on down the line, pitch the ball, or turn and go upfield like he did, and made a very wise choice and a very heads-up play. That was a good job by Gary Tidball then.
Didn't quite get enough for the 1st and 10, though. The ball will be spotted just across the 40. 3rd down and 1. Ball on the near side hash marks. They'll give it straight ahead, and Delamar should have enough for the 1st and 10 down to the 39-yard line now. Kevin Carr on the stop. That ought to be enough if they'll mark it on the 39-yard line, and they say it's still going to be a little bit short. Well, 3rd down, 4th down, and about a yard to go. Not quite. Maybe they need to get down closer to the 38 than the 39 for the 1st and 10. 5:09 to play in the ball game. Benton Panthers with a lead, 36-13 tonight. Moving from left to right here in the 4th quarter. Gary Tidball, the quarterback. He'll send Blake Jumper to the near side of the field. Malvern again with a 5-man front defensively. Tidball, the quarterback for the Benton Panthers. One of the Malvern Leopards moved and made some contact, and that will be Nathan Smith, who's a big fella, and he went across and made contact, so it will be a 5-yard penalty walked off against the Leopards, which will move the ball down to the 34-yard line and give the Panthers an easy 1st down.
John, we don't know exactly what the cadence was by the quarterback, but what the Panthers do is they come up to the line of scrimmage, they say set, and they call out a color twice and then hut. And it could have been that they called that on 2 rather than on 1 and drew the defender off. That's the exact reason why on 4th down and short you go for it like you do.
Ball on the near side hash marks as Gary Tidball is engineering a drive now for the Benton Panthers down to the Malvern 34-yard line. And the ball goes up the middle to Delamar, the fullback, and he gets just a little bit there, not much. Picked up about a yard on the play. 2nd down and 9. Jack Clark on the tackle for Malvern. Well, they got 2 there. We're going to call it a 2nd and 8. 4 minutes and 9 seconds left to play in the ball game here tonight. The season opener for Benton and Malvern, and thus far it's been all Benton. Ball spotted on the 34-yard line. 2nd down and 8. Tidball, I take that back. Paige Eccles back in the lineup now to engineer the remainder of this drive. Eccles will keep it. He's on the 30. Eccles crosses the 30 down to the 28-yard line. And that'll bring up 3rd down. George Hathcock on the stop for Malvern.
George Eccles did I've got George on my mind. Paige Eccles did a great job that time of reading what the defender did, and the defender played to the fullback all the way, and he just tucked the ball back under and went for a nice game.
They mark it on the 29-yard line. Ball in the middle of the field as Eccles will split his. This is Darren Adams to the near side of the field, and again the ball is on the ground. And let's see, there was a scramble for it momentarily. The ball went up the middle. We got a flag on the play. I was looking elsewhere at the snap and didn't really see what happened that time.
John, is just a busted play. It looks like Benton's got right now 38 carries for 199 yards on the ground, which is pretty impressive for a first ball game. And their passing statistics right now, they have 99 yards passing, so they're reaching up there toward the 400-yard mark on the total offense for the game.
Ball on the 30-yard line. It's 4th down and about 6 yards to go now for the Panthers. Paige Eccles, bark signals, takes the ball, hands off up the middle to the fullback, John Freeman, and John finds no opening at all. He's driven straight back, and the Malvern Leopards will take over as Jack Clark was just determined not to let that hole get unplugged. And so Malvern will take over now with about 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the ball game, and an opportunity to again bring out Chad Brashears and let him do his thing.
John, before Miss Patterson, my old math teacher, hears this, let me correct myself. That's close to 300 yards offense for the ball game. She'll be telling me about that next time I see her.
Well, let's see what happens now, as I believe we got a new quarterback in there for Malvern right now. It's Michael Langley, and Langley takes the ball and hands off up the middle, and Brent Black is there to make the tackle. Should be seeing some new faces in here for Malvern now. Nathan Nolan in at fullback, and he carried the ball that time. We're down to 2:18 to play in the game. The Panthers leading 36-13, trying to wrap up victory number 1 on the year and avenge a stinging loss last year to the same Leopard Ball Club. Ball on the 34-yard line, I formation, right square in the middle of the field. Michael Langley, the quarterback. Bart signals. Langley takes the ball, hands off to the second man through, Mark Traylor, and Mark is hit right on the 35-yard line, not much there. On the tackle, Brent Black again for the Benton Panthers, so that will bring up 3rd and 5 now. The line to gain for Malvern on this particular first down, for this first down, is the 42-yard line. We're inside 2 minutes to play, 1:39 and counting. Langley and company up to the line of scrimmage here. John Foles will be split to the near side, I formation. Ball on the far side of the field. And here we go down the line as Langley will keep it across the 35. Langley up to about the 37. There's a flag on the tackle. Judd Fight for the Benton Panthers.
John, I'm afraid they're going to call us for spearing on that. I'll wait just a minute, but really, given all due credit, that's just good hustle by the Panthers. The ball carrier wasn't down, but the way that our defender came in and made the tackle that time, they can judge that as spearing. Let's see what the official calls, because that appeared to be what that they were going to, well, face mask. So I'm glad they didn't call spearing on that, because it really wasn't spearing, but we did have a face mask on it.
That'll move it down to the Benton 47-yard line. That's 10 penalties for 100 yards tonight. A statistic that I know the coaches are going to like to see tomorrow. Here's the give to Nathan Nolan now for Malvern as he's down to the 45-yard line. John Council on the tackle for the Panthers. And we're down to 1 minute to play here in the season opener here for the Benton Panthers. They're going on to victory tonight over the Malvern Leopards and looking ahead, I'm sure, to next week to Arkadelphia. Ball on the 45-yard line in the middle of the field. I formation. This time it'll be Chris Gray split to the near side. Here's the snap. Langley takes off, hands off to Nolan, and Nathan Nolan is hit on the 45. No gain, very little gain on the play. Lamont Boson on the stop for the Panthers. Down to half a minute, 29 seconds and counting.
John, I'm seeing some great hustle out there by our second team and some of our reserve players. The Panther defenders are doing a great job. There's a lot of hustle, and they have a lot of enthusiasm when they get in a game like this, because it's their chance to show the coaches what they can do, and they like to take full advantage of it.
So Langley and company up to the line of scrimmage. We're down to 3 seconds, 2 seconds. They probably won't get this play off. They won't. That's the end of the ball game as the Benton Panthers have opened successfully, defeating the Malvern Leopards 36-13 here at Malvern Leopard Field tonight. It's been a good ball game for the Benton Panthers as they just took it to the Leopards from the opening kickoff all the way to the end of the ball game. We're going to pause for 1 minute. We'll be back. You're listening to Benton Panther football.
Matchup. Sunday silence and easy goer.